Yo, what's up guys? John Boogle here. Today, you guessed it, we're going to be using our own guide to beat Manic Island, arguably the hardest Manic stage. Will we be able to pull it off with our lower levels? We'll see. So, the old guide is 4 years old, and that's to the day. Now, this old guide does use higher levels than we have right now, especially the main culprit Cyborg. We also don't have Crazed Dragon at level 30 or King Dragon at plus 20 at least. Hell, if we ignore our cat storage, we don't even have King Dragon. Our Bath Cat is not level 30 or True Forms. The only units we have higher leveled or the same level here is Drama Cats, which I have 2 levels higher, and Crazed Bahamut, which is of course the same level. Well, just like every other guide, we don't have to use the exact same lineup or levels. What we'll do is adjust our lineup and our units to meet this strategy and try to execute it. So we had a few options here. Our Paris was not true form yet on this first attempt. Our Drama Cats was not level 30 yet on this first attempt. Of course, we had Courier to use, and that was pretty helpful for the Cory wave. But you'll see we don't even reach the Cory boss wave in this attempt. And that just clearly shows that we're under leveled. A level 25 pole vaulter is not enough help to support. We could have true formed Pizza and maybe use it here, but 10 extra range is quite rough. We also could have used Castaway, but same thing as Pizza. Having 10 extra range against these islands is not going to be enough. So what the hell do we do? Well, we can't figure that out until we properly gauge our units in this first test run here. From this run, we could also get a lot of info that we might need for our winning run. So that's exactly what we did. It was obvious, level 27 Paris was not enough. Drama Cats also couldn't survive a hit at the level we had it here. The guide mentioned how a level 30 Drama Cats is enough, and that is true because it can survive a hit at 30. But the guide also mentioned that if you want to have an easy time in the stage, just boost Cyborg. Now, while we definitely have the resources to boost Cyborg, of course, we're not going to do that for future guide purposes. Let's just first see how this run plays out. As you can easily tell, we're struggling to even make it to the base and hit the base to activate the boss wave. Our meat shields are not standing enough ground because we only have a plus 10 eraser and level 20 manic eraser. So we're not able to build up a stack and eliminate this huge wave. And that of course means our DPS output is very lacking. But we were still able to hold on just a bit until it got too much. You know it's bad when the Brawler wave comes out before Cory even steps foot in the field. So before we hop into our next attempts, we of course had to do some things, and it was about damn time we finally get Haniwa. Now, Haniwa is a absolute unit for all of these manic stages except for flying, and this might just solve our meat shield issue. But of course, that was not enough. This is arguably the hardest manic stage. We're gonna need more than that. The next thing we had to focus on was our attackers. And yes, we can just use our Ubers and just easily beat the stage with no issue at all, but that's not the point here. That would be the real way to use a guide, by substituting your most powerful units, but I want to show it's still possible without. So immediately after, first thing we did, get Cyborg Cat. Now ours is not going to be boosted at level 45, but 33 should be enough. We've already established how our Drama Cats is high enough level for the stage. It's actually higher than we used in the guide. So to compensate for the lower level of Cyborg, we're going to upgrade our Drama Cats even more. Pizza was also here as an option, and I did decide to true form it because we're eventually going to need it for Manic Jamera and such later on. Can never go wrong with getting one of the key gachas. So while risky, Pizza Cat was also another option we had on the table if things were not to work out. Next is Bath. Now, even though we have Courier, we can't rely on Courier solely because it is an LD unit, which means when Cory pushes forward, there's a chance where Courier will just miss. Courier is still nice for that chip burst damage though. So we got to constructing our lineup for our second attempt. We could use Octo here, but I don't feel like that would make much of a difference. The old guide used 2 different strategies, and we're going to execute the burst damage strategy because we do not have Pirate Cat's true form, so we can't really use the crowd control strategy to its fullest potential, and we're pretty much ready for our second attempt here. We can use Sniper power up just in case Cory becomes an issue. Rich Cat obviously will help us tremendously build up in the beginning. Now it was just time to try to execute the strategy. The old guide mentioned how you do want to build a massive stack before you hit the base, and that is very obvious, but of course that is what we're gonna try to do here. Now Haniwa is gonna make this much easier. Of course, we still have the goat Cube cat here, but Haniwa is the real meat shield crutch for the stage. And if you get it even higher level, this becomes a massive joke. But even Haniwa being at level 30, you'll see the massive difference of this run compared to the previous. We are going to build the Great Hani Wall. Now another big difference is you'll see how our attackers are actually able to keep up and hold some ground as well. But in the second half of the level, you'll quickly realize how it is actually just barely enough. And yes, spoiler alert, we do hit the base in this run. Now let's speed it up here a bit so we get to the base hit. But you can still see we're holding ground, but we're still slightly struggling just a bit. Only after a massive cyborg stack and a few drama cats are we able to push a bit forward. But you saw right there, the massive cyborg stack just got eliminated out of the way, and that just means we have barely any attackers up there right now to support. It was not looking too good so far. At this point in the guide, I did mention that you have to stop meat shielding, so that's exactly what we did, because you do not want Corey to wave. Now there we go, we finally hit the base, but now we don't have as much attackers stacked up as I would like. Courier is still getting knocked back by the island, and he's able to get a few hits in there, and our honey wall was actually too much that Corey actually got a hit and waved. But that's fine, because now all the honey walls are gone, we don't have to worry about another wave again, unless we get super unlucky. Now that wave was definitely a huge problem that killed our bat cat that was stacked, and of course most of our attackers were wiped out right there. But Courier and Bat together is enough to do insane amounts of burst damage. Courier here is also able to hit the islands in the back while hitting Corey at the same time. While I was in this run, I thought it was pretty much over because I didn't gauge how much health Corey had left. But just in time for the brawler wave, Corey goes down. Now we have to recover quickly and prepare for the second half of the level because it is not over yet. It is far from over. Now, the second half of the level, this is where most people do struggle just a bit because it becomes a whole new battle. Not only are you fighting the occasional brawler wave that comes out and wipes out your entire stack, you have to try to build up a stack big enough to where you start pushing forward again. Now, of course, with higher levels, this isn't really much of an issue. You could just cyborg spam to victory. But we're not using a boosted cyborg, so every cyborg counts. But here we go. I'm going to speed it up by 900% here. This is when you'll truly realize that this is not over yet. We had a massive struggle going back and forth, building up a stack, chipping the base, getting run over, building up a stack, chipping the base, getting run over by the brawler wave, building up a stack, hitting cat limit, then getting run over. It was an absolutely relentless battle back and forth. It got very close many times. We just had to find the right moment to where when we hit the base, we have a large enough stack built up and the brawler wave is not coming anytime soon. And with some RNG with wolf knockbacks, we're able to just hang by tight in the base and finally lock onto the base long enough to finally destroy it. And there it was. In just our second attempt, we've beaten the hardest Manic stage and obtained Manic Island. So yes, to answer, the old guide still works, the strategy still works, but we're in a different time and different units are usable, so we have to adapt. However, I will still make updated guides. But there it is, Manic Island, which is really our first real attempt since the first run was just us gauging our units. We're able to execute it pretty easily. But yeah, that's it. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new, join the hashtag Boogle gang. Discord is down below, join if you'd like. Only a couple more of these videos left and then we'll finally be hopping into the in-depth Manic guides, the updated versions. But that's it. It's been John Boogle, and see ya.